a payment of $466,824.01, and then we have another of later additions of $318,346.48, and then also an additional $15,000. So the $15,000 is payment to All Things Possible, and it's actually going to Advantage Housing. There's this house on 7th Street that was acquired after previous owners were displaced due to a drug bust, I guess is a nice way of putting it. Thanks, Carrie. The city acquired the house, and we gave it to a nonprofit tackles homelessness, and gets people back into housing. They were able to partner with All Things Possible to do an addiction recovery home on 2nd Street, and so that $15,000 that was last added is to help with the funds to repair the home. So these are coming out of our demolition funds on homes too. So that's where that money is coming from. Is there anything else you want to mention? Anything in this batch that's different?
I don't think so.
Yeah, fire truck payment, was that there, or?
No, I don't think so.
No, this one. We got paving in there. We have that paving for 3rd Street, 7th Street, so a big chunk of that also.
This one here, Wells Fargo.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure which equipment that is. The Wells Fargo payment.
Those are those payments that say like bond, 1999 bond A, B, C type thing. I don't know what they're actually for.
Okay. All right. Well, Tish isn't here, so we don't have.
Well, one of those payments, if there's a bond payment in there, it could be the last payment for the general obligation bond, which is what we're renewing and then start again in January 1. Right. That's when the new payments will kick in. So I don't see that in those budgets. So I don't know if that's what that is, but if there's a labeled bond, that's what it could be.
Yeah, I don't think it's that one that Steve's mentioning. I'm trying to think what that would be for the.
We're looking that folder right there, maybe.
Mr. Dan, do you know any payments for?
It could be our final bond payment on the fire station.
I bet that's what it is.
How much was it? It was
44,000.
I would think that's pretty close.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think that's
probably
that.
it.
It would be attached to the claim if you want to pull it out right there, or if you want me to.
You're really making
But in
a
the-
long meeting, Steve. Okay. I'm going to assume that's what it is. Okay. Now we're good. Is there any questions from the public on payment claims? Any questions from the board? Do you have a motion to accept the payment of the claims?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Blight claims, we have no blight claims. The city attorney, do you have a report?
Nothing for the Board of Works at this time.
Okay. Next we have an electrical test. Jason Gordon, first part written is at 81%, and the second is 100%. Second is our local rules for from our pre-utilities. So yeah, 100% on that, and 81 on the other code part.
What do they have to get to pass?
80.
80?
Mm-hmm. Did we say, Brenda, today, when we were talking about this, was that 80 overall or 80 per part?
80 per section.
80 per section, okay. All right. Do any questions from the public? Any questions from the board? Do I have a motion to accept the electrical license for Jason Gordon?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Under communications, we have none, and under unfinished business, we have none. So we move to new business. Paul Benson and Denise Ryan, you guys have a request for a police police escort on August 3rd, 2019 from Main Street at the footbridge to Main and Broadway. North of...
North on Broadway to 6th.
North on Broadway to 6th, okay. Would you like to talk about that?
This is in conjunction with Block Party. And a couple years ago, my cousin had walked from Indianapolis to Kokomo to raise funds for rifles for veterans' funerals in Kokomo. And he raised in excess of $30,000.
Awesome.
So he is again partnering with us, and he is not going to be able to do the walk himself, but has recruited 2 veterans to walk from Kokomo to Peru, and is going to be escorted down 31 by Howard County Emergency Management. They're going to escort them all the way to the other side of the footbridge. So we're requesting that Peru, either in our emergency management or our police department or our fire department, pick up the escort on this side of the footbridge and bring them in to Block Party. We're not exactly sure of the time that they're going to arrive, but we're thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 2:30 in that area. They're wanting to walk right down Main Street to the intersection of Main Street and Broadway and right down to 6th Street. Now keep in mind that we are in contact with all of the major television stations out of Indianapolis. And also we have appeared on WWKI and are anticipating live coverage from them. So we are bringing in coverage from outside of the area. So Peru's going to get some coverage on this.
Okay. And so they'll be walking from the bridge to the party on 6th Street?
Yes, there are also some people from Peru that are going to be joining the veterans both there and, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 people that are going to join en route to support the vets in their walk. Not sure if they're going to be carrying American flags, but I do know that they are going to be carrying a full infield pack, which is 40 pounds per vet. This is a challenging walk for them. They are taking not only donations, but they are taking pledges of per mile. So we're looking at a couple $1,000s that they're going to raise in this walk.
And that money goes to your organization,
It
correct?
goes to the Block Party
So-
that they're raising.
When they get on the other side of the footbridge, and they're going to walk to Main Street from that area, asking for the police to escort them. Will they be walking on the road then with the police escort?
Yes.
Down the streets? Okay.
Also, during their walk, they got 4 stops that they're going to make along the way. At each stop, they're going to be changing their shirt. They've got sponsors for the front and back of their shirts. They're also selling slots down each sleeve, which is a fundraiser. And at the sometime during the evening of Block Party, those shirts are going to be auctioned off.
Do you know what, like, the time frame you're expecting it to take for them to make the walk from the bridge?
I wouldn't say it's probably going to take them probably more than a half an hour, I wouldn't think.
Okay. Mr. Hoover, do you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to add or change on that?
I think that, I'm going to go ahead and say that we can do it, but I'm going to talk to Dave or somebody with EMA and see if we can work together on that.
Okay.
What you say footbridge, is that the nickel plate? Is that-
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know if the bridge has a specific name, I just,
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any questions from the board for the EMA, first responders, or Denise? Paul? Okay. Yeah, and then, as long as as it's something that the police department feels comfortable doing. I'm sure, you know, if something happens that could be called out, I'm sure that they would have to pull away from that, but, you know, pending nothing unforeseen happening, I would say it'll probably work out. What did you say the 3 stops were?
The stops will take place before they reach that point.
Oh, okay, they're not stopping between the bridge and 6th Street? Okay,
No.
gotcha.
Their stops will already take place. I'm not sure, I haven't asked my cousin exactly where the stops are, but I do know that that's actually, you know, I mean, that's going to be a pretty short run if you figure, I believe it's 23 miles that they're walking, so that last stretch is it's less than 2 miles. So their stops are already going to be done at
Gotcha.
that point.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, do I have a motion to accept the request for a police escort from August 3rd from Ms. Ryan and Mr. Butson?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have a request for an alley closure on Grant Street Alley, West 2nd Street to Holland Street, June 22nd through 19th. Is it Mark and Teresa? Anyone here for that request? Okay. Let's take a look at that. How many, is that 1 block, or how many blocks is that?
Just one.
Requesting Grant Street Alley, West 2nd to Holland Street, blocked off for Celebration of Life for Henry Springer. They said they've talked to all the neighbors and they're all right with it. It is June 22nd, 2019, 4 to 8 p.m. My other thing would be making sure that the neighbors are notified if they have access to their garages from the alley and it's closed from that time. Just making sure that each neighbor's actually been contacted and that they're notified.
Does the city do that, or does the requester do that?
I don't think it's been a formalized process when it comes to notifying.
I know the parents live on that alley. So what they want to do is basically close off next to their house for the event.
Gotcha.
So it's their family that lives there, or his family, I guess.
Gotcha. And so there's
I don't think the other house is actually abandoned at this point.
gotcha. I don't know. I'd like to actually see what area they're talking about there. Todd?
We're confused, me and Dave are confused what they're wanting.
What it is Holland Street, the end of 2nd.
Right.
If you go back east of that, the alley there, if you went straight through that, take you to Grant Street. They're calling it Grant Street Alley. It's just the alley that runs
That alley
through there.
By Webster's.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's over on 2nd Street, not on 3rd.
Okay.
So it's just that alley's all it is.
I got you. All
So
right.
it's only half of the city block is what they're trying to block off.
I'm with you.
Trying to get straight in my head too, where that's at.
If you go down West
If you go
2nd,
second, and then it hits Holland, right?
it just actually, it turns and goes right straight into my house.
Right. And but Holland Street turns and goes to your house, but it's
Yeah.
actually Holland.
Yes.
So then,
And it'd just be back east of that half a block, that alley there, what they're calling Grant Street Alley. It's just an alley.
gotcha.
It's a
Really? Because that's where it
alley.
confused me, because
Right, it's just
that's not even,
no, it's not even a,
it's not attached to Grant Street at all.
no. If
Okay.
you drove straight through it, would take you up Grant Street.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, it's
Okay, I understand now.
it's a north-south alley.
Okay,
I don't know that it had been used.
okay. Yeah, like I said, I would just want to make sure that if there's anybody else who's in that alley, that they're notified at the time that it's going to be blocked off.
Yeah, and the only alley that uses is just to that people's house.
Gotcha.
I mean, because the back alley is not going to be blocked.
Okay. Well, so Todd or Dave, any thoughts or concerns on that?
Good, we'll just run down some barricades,
Okay.
sign them.
From our fire fires, any access issues there?
I think we're okay.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comment from the board? Question or comment from the public? All right, do I have a motion to accept the alley closing request?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll get that and let them know just to make sure they get hold of the other neighbors.
Okay, so that'd be great. Next, we have a request for a tree removal, 202 Adam Avenue, Darren and Mary. You guys have any pictures or anything?
I provided them to Ashley.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in
Did,
here.
are they on there?
Or, yeah, I can't.
They're in the packet.
They're black and white copies though, so it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
Did you happen to bring copies?
I have it on my phone.
Yeah, it'd be better because these black and white ones are
Oh,
just
we have
not doing it.
okay.
The color.
I came out black and white, so I can't really see.
Thank you.
See, special over there. Probably the lady who printed it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's a slip.
Right. Mr. Anderson, kind of right there. So, do you know where your property line is on
Well, if you
there?
look on our GIS map, the property line is almost up to our house, which is well past the trees.
Gotcha.
We've only lived there a couple of years, and our neighbor told us that we're the only block in Oakdale that does not have curbs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you line up the sidewalk, which I tried to take a picture, line up the sidewalk.
Oh, gotcha. I can kind of see where maybe that would be one.
Yeah. So we're not sure if that's really the case, that it's really the city that should take care of it. We were just asking.
Yeah, well, so the maintenance on the tree lawns, regardless of where the property line is, I mean, obviously, if the trees are on the owner's property, that's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
The tree lawn is still the homeowner's maintenance.
Okay.
So we, our criteria for taking action on the Board of Works is if it poses an immediate threat of like falling and causing a hazard to the public. And so that's one of the things where it's kind of a interpretation of how dangerous and how immediate the danger is on the trees. Mr. Thorpe, have you had a chance to look at that at all?
No, I have not.
Okay. Do you know, can you tell from seeing the tree, is it a live tree, or is it dead, mostly dead, or?
It looks like it's mostly dead, and it has these like mushroom things, and they're on the ground in that one picture.
Right.
They grow out the side of it, so I'm not sure if it's a diseased tree or,
Gotcha.
but it's mostly dead. There's not much.
Yeah. I know we said at the last meeting, we talked about the prevalence of tree requests. And I do know, talking from our building department and some other of our city employees, that we're getting, the issues are being confused, I think, amongst the public on the responsibility of these trees now, because they're getting more and more that that's the city, they need to do that, I'm not going to do anything. Not saying that's what this is at all. I'm just saying that, like, as we do these, it's becoming an issue writ large in the public with that. So that I do want to bring that to the board's attention too. That it's getting worse basically by the week as far as people assuming that the city's going to come and take care of all the trees in the tree lawn. So it's something that's going to have to come to a head sooner or later.
Yeah, we're going to have to make those parameters like we were talking about.
Right.
Well, that would go back to the actual public safety part. That's exactly what it's all about. It's not a matter of maintenance. If the tree dies and it's not going to fall on somebody, then it's still maintenance.
Right. So, Dave, are you comfortable going and looking at the tree and making a determination for us to decide whether or not this is I would say, in danger of?
Yeah, I can go look at it. I can go look at it tomorrow.
Okay. Does the board want to handle it like we have with the previous ones, giving approval for Dave to make the decision on this, or do we want to do anything different on this one?
Well, I mean, my feeling is if it doesn't pose a threat, immediate threat, then it's back on the homeowner. If he could go there and be like, this is going to hurt somebody, then obviously at his discretion, we need to take care of it.
Is that something, like, do you feel like you're clear on that, Dave, as far as, like, what we're looking for as a board, as far as if it's a public safety threat, or if it's just maintenance?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I'd still like for us at some point, we have time to operationalize and conceptualize
Right.
what public safety means.
mhm,
Have some concrete criteria to give
right,
the public or whomever.
I
yeah.
can't hear what she's saying.
No one's ever wanted to hear what I said to that.
I do.
Do you want to repeat yourself, or, I don't want to sound like...
We talked at our last meeting about getting some more concrete parameters about what means, what public safety means, and getting some concrete protocol for these tree removal requests. So that's something that I'd like for us to work on, and I'll work on these guys to make that happen.
Is there any question or comment from the public? Any clarification? Is there anything from the board?
I think if you're comfortable making that call, then we can support that.
All right, so I would ask for a motion to, I guess, give permission to the street supervisor to make the determination,
Whether
take
it's
further
an
action.
public safety issue or not.
Yep. So that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we will have Dave get back to us after he checks that out for him.
Oh.
What's that? Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
And then if he says yes, then will he come up and sign the...
Hold harmless.
Hold harmless? Okay. We'll have you guys come up and sign hold harmless paperwork. So. All right, next we have a request from Dave Newman. Peru Church of the Brethren, the alley closure request for the alley behind their church on June 15th from 9:30 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. So David?
Yeah, we're calling it a block party, it's really a parking lot party instead. So
Gotcha.
we just, for safety reasons, just the property line of our church on Clay Street, the 5th and Clay is our church is on the corner of 5th and Clay, just to block that off. Our activities from 10 a.m. to 2 on a Saturday, June 15th, so we're saying 9:30 block off. There's only 2 garages that are blocked. They're going to be notified. I was kind of waiting for final approval before we tell them. But we've got a great understanding with the community right there around there, so we don't park in our parking lot sometimes, so don't worry about that. I don't think they'll have an issue with that.
Okay.
Serving free food, we're having a bouncy house, we're having games, we're giving prizes away. You guys are all invited.
Thank you.
Can we go on the bouncy house?
We do have an age requirement. Because I asked if I could do it too, and they kind of said a weight requirement for me.
Age sounds so much better.
Yeah. It'll be ageist. Pretty close for you, right, isn't it?
It is really close to where I am, so free food.
Yeah, so you can see them at your front
Well,
door.
you're going to get a flyer, if you're living in a 3-block area, you're getting a flyer from next Monday.
All right.
Mailbox.
I do have a question. If you notify the neighbors and the neighbors say absolutely no way, what does the city do in that case?
Well, I think we'd have to weigh the needs of the neighbors to have access to their garage or whatnot versus the need for whatever event they want to hold. So I would say, if a neighbor says, that's why I park my car every day and I want access to that, I don't know, that would be a determination of the board. I think
We will, just answer for our own sake, we will have someone there, so if the car does need out, we're going to move the barriers so they can come in and out.
There you go.
That's the answer.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. Right. Public safety or street traffic, any issues on that? Okay. All right, any more questions from the board?
No, thanks for indulging my hypothetical.
No problem. Any question, comment from the public? All right, do I have a motion to accept the Peru Church of the Brethren request for an alley closure?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. Next, we have Jessica Stanley with a request for an appeal by a decision that Peru Animal Control that deemed her dog to be vicious. So, Greg, we have you here. Jessica? Okay. It's first appeal, so I don't know. Who would the board like to hear from first on this?
I'm interested, Mr. Douglas, in if you could let us know what criteria the Animal Control Department follows to make a determination like this?
First of all, with the dog being off-leash on property and going into somebody else's property and causing harm.
Hey, Greg, you can go ahead and come up and speak here so people at home can hear you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. First of all, when you have an animal that comes off its property, goes onto somebody else's property, causes harm to another animal, person, at that point, you have that option of doing the dog as a vicious dog. If the dog would have just been off its property, walking by, I got a call, the dog was loose, now you're just talking about a leash law violation. But because there was bodily harm or done, then you're talking about a vicious dog situation.
Can you describe the kind of damage was done? Oh,
We have pictures.
pictures. What's the mouth injury?
The mouth injury is, one of them on the cheek, you'll see some marks on the cheek, and the tooth missing was actually caused by this as well. The missing tooth was caused by this incident as well, and then the marks on the little girl's face.
And those are outlined in the police reports.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There were some marks on the back shoulder, I think on an arm, cheek, and then the missing tooth.
Anything else?
You know, that's, at first when we got dispatched out, it was dispatched out to the address where the little girl lives, which happens to be about, I think it's 4 houses down from where the dog lives. The dispatch dispatched myself and officers because of the little girl. So we all got down there. When we got down there, I took there was 2 dogs actually, the black and white one I have pictures of, and there was another little white and tan one that was running along, but it was just meandering around. She didn't do anything. I did take them both into custody at that time, and then we went over, and at the time we wasn't 100% sure of the homeowner until we had some of the people around that told us that Mrs. Stanley was the one that owned him. But she later contacted me that evening and reclaimed the little white and tan one, and that's when we spoke about the injuries and such to the girl. Was that evening, the same day.
And can you explain to everyone when a dog is deemed a vicious dog, what does that mean? And what's
When myself or any public official, like a police officer or something like that, decides that a dog, what it's done, has been a vicious attack, at that point, the owner of the dog has a decision to make. If they have the ability to buy an insurance policy, which that insurance policy is, by the city standards, it's a $250,000 policy that has to be renewed every year. The dog also has to have current rabies, it has to current registration with the city, has to be confined on its property at all times. If it's out on a walk with a leash, it has to have a muzzle on. Or if they decide they don't want to do that, then the dog has to be humanely put down.
That's it.
If they decide they don't or cannot get that insurance,
The other option for a dog is if it has been deemed vicious and that's the final decision, then the other part is it's either you get the insurance and you follow the guidelines, or the dog has to be humanely put down.
Would they have the option of getting rid of the dog, giving it to somebody else, like in the county?
According to our city ordinances, that's your two options, is that right there.
Gotcha. Any idea, ballpark, how much insurance policy like that costs?
I've got, right now, I think the city has 6 to 7 animals that are on this vicious dog insurance. A lot of the insurance companies will allow riders on their homeowner policies. If you don't have something like that, a rider, I think I've got some that's around the $600 a year. If you don't have homeowners and you just get the outright insurance, you're looking at $1,500 or so a year in insurance price.
So probably at or a little above $1,000 between
Yeah.
a month, 50 to 1,000.
Quote, it was 1,400.
1,400 a month.
Well, a year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
For the whole year, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so they break it up in a year. That's why I say they can either, some places will offer a rider, which I have some that are a rider on the insurance. Others have them just to flat out pay every year insurance policy, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Douglas from the board?
Was the dog, like, aggressive towards you?
No. After the owner, or not the owner, sorry, the father of the daughter, when I got there, he had just grabbed a hold of the dog. I put the dog on a leash, walked it straight over, put it in the truck, and that was the ending that I had with it. I didn't really give it a whole lot of options to, mess with it or anything. I just grabbed it, stuck it in there, and then we went down to check on the little girl and see what was going on with her.
Like, at what level do you consider it vicious? I mean, if a dog jumps onto somebody and scratches them, or do they actually physically have to bite them?
Well, with the amount of, it goes by, I mean, as you can see some of the pictures there of what had happened, there's no actual puncture wounds per se, but there's everything else. I mean, with the marks on the face and the arms and getting where the tooth was knocked out and everything, at that point I felt that, with the amount of harm that was done to the girl, that regardless of any puncture wounds, it was still, to me, I felt like it was a vicious attack.
Was that a permanent tooth, or is that a...
It was not a permanent tooth, luckily, but, at least that's what the mother told me.
Gotcha.
So are any of these bites, or are they just scratches?
I've seen no puncture marks on there from teeth, but that doesn't mean that a tooth didn't come across the arm or something and scratch. The girl was outside of the house. The parents were just right inside the house. It was a nice day. They had the windows open. They heard the girl scream, ran outside, and the father said the dog was still in a standoffish position towards him as he came outside as well. Like I said, when we got there, he had grabbed the dog, and I put it on a leash and just put it away, and that was the end of my contact with it at that point.
We don't have anybody here from the family of the girl?
No. I contacted them and let them know about the meeting and let them know that, if they wanted to come, they were free to come and speak if they wanted to. They said that they would or wouldn't. They wasn't real certain if they would or not, so they're not here.
Anybody else have any questions for Greg on?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I'm sorry, I did have one other question, Greg. Was the dog aggressive with the father when he came out?
The father said the dog was still in that standoffish kind of growly mood towards the father. And that was the first thing he said when they got there, was that he was still in that mode, frame of mind at that point with him. He didn't say he got bit. He just said that, with the way it was acting towards him, he didn't really give it a whole lot of options to do anything.
Did he say how he was able to restrain the dog?
The dog had a choker chain, I believe. He just grabbed a hold of it.
So the dog was on the girl when the guy got out there?
The dog was at the guy's front porch. The girl was at the side of the house, and when he came out the house, the dog came over towards where he was coming down the steps. That's what he told us.
So he never saw what happened either?
No, he heard everything because she was right by the open window, and by the time he got out there, the dog had left and came over to him, and then from there, it was just a matter of seeing the pictures and what the girl had said had happened.
And how did the girl describe it, do you know?
She just said she was outside playing, and the two dogs came out of just down the street, and the black and white one came onto her, and I don't know exactly what, onto, sort of 5-year-old, or I guess not 5-year-old, but 8-year-old. Yeah, she didn't go into a lot of descriptive about it. She just said it came over and got onto her and got her face and arms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But did she say that the dog bit her?
In the police
just
report, it
jumping on
does
her?
say bit.
What's that?
In the police report, it does say bit.
And that came from the girl's description?
Yes.
Of what happened? Okay. All right. Now, is there any other question? Sorry.
That's okay.
All right, thanks, Greg.
Okay.
Just going to take a minute and just read over the police report again. Ms. Stanley, would you like to,
Yeah.
would
I'm sorry.
you like to come up and talk to us?
He's a 10-month-old puppy. They're Old English Bulldogs. They're they're more concerned with when their next nap is and playing. Occasionally, yeah, they get crazy in the house and play with each other. But in most cases, they're laying down, sleeping, I get that they went through the fence and we have kids in and out of the house constantly. We walk them down to East End at least once a week since they're open. They go down there and get the Sundays. They don't have any issues with other dogs, no issues with kids, people, nothing.
So how would you explain what happened in this instance?
I know nobody's seen it. I'm assuming that they got excited and jumped on her, and maybe, I don't know if they knocked her down and that's what happened to the two. I can't tell you because I work nights. I was upstairs sleeping when it happened.
It looks like they kind of dug through and got through the
They
fence.
broke the board on the fence, yeah. We put another board on the other side to block it now, because we have a doggy door so they can go outside when they want.
So it's 10 months old?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's a puppy. But I
So
don't
when did
understand
you-
naming a 10-month-old puppy a vicious animal when I get if she was, I've seen cases where a dog has bit a child's hand off, He's not like that. He's very, very docile, He's, I've always, I don't know, but I've always considered him, or described him as almost autistic because he's strange. He just sits around. He doesn't, he's not crazy and runs around. He's not like that at all. And that's like when they say growling, he has never growled. You can, even when the kids rile him up and try playing with him, he's not one to growl. He doesn't get like that.
So did you purchase the dog? Did you get it from a shelter?
We purchased him. It was on some paper, on one of the auto traders.
Gotcha. And that was, how long ago did you purchase the dog?
Beginning of the year, maybe. He was older, because we got him for less since he was older.
And so the age of the dog comes from?
I have papers for him.
You do have papers?
Yeah, he's
that-
registered.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both registered Old English Bulldogs, full-blooded, so I mean, they're not typically a hyper dog or aggressive in any ways, you know.
The injuries on the girl, it's hard to really know exactly what happened. It could be from the looks on that, from the dog jumping up and getting the girl with either claws or, you know, I know when I play around with my dog, if his teeth
Right.
break across me, it would have the same kind of look, not punctured, but you can has the same kind of look as a scratch. So it's really hard to tell whether or not it was from a tooth or from a paw.
And he's more lay around and eat our shoes than attack anyone, you know.
And the other issue though too is, you know, we have a lot of complaints about people letting their dogs run loose, and an incident like this, although the girl looks like she's okay.
Let him out, I mean, they broke
Right.
the fence.
Yeah, and regardless of how the animal ends up being loose in the neighborhood, if people are afraid for their children's safety in a neighborhood, that's not a situation we want to be in. I think, you know, for me, the big question here is the demeanor of the dog and whether this was something that the dog was being playful that scared the girl and she got scratched, or if this was the dog being aggressive and we're all lucky this is as bad as it got. So that's kind of where my question lies at this point. And that being said too, also the issue of we do have people that let their dogs loose or aren't being as careful as you might have been, that, you know, we have the public that is saying, hey, we need to do more about people letting their dogs run loose too. And, you know, in the face of that, when there's an incident like this, what kind of action do we take in the face of that?
I think one thing you might ask, Greg, how did it act when you quarantined it?
It hasn't showed any aggression towards me. It hasn't really, it just kind of sticks to itself in the kennel. I don't have a lot of interaction with it. I put signs on the dogs and just say quarantine and leave them. I let it out, clean the kennel, feed it, bring them back in, and I don't have a lot of interaction with them at that point because of the quarantine.
I'm just thinking off the top of my head, and I hesitate to say anything that I'm going to regret, so, because this board hasn't done a appeal of this nature yet before, so this is new for us too. The age of the dog being younger, I'm wondering if like a probation, because I hate to say nothing, and then there be something else that happens, and, you know, us collectively being like, well, you know, there was the signs. I also wonder with the age of the dog, and the injuries aren't, we're not going to show the injuries to the public because it's got the little girl's face and we don't want to, you know, invade her privacy, but suffice to say the injuries there was no puncture wounds. It could be a scratch, it could be, you know, from rough playing, what it looks like. With the age of the girl, if the tooth was loose at all, and the dog was playing rough and it happened, I just don't know. There's so many variables here as far as whether the dog was being, even if it didn't mean harm, was being, you know, really rambunctious, overwhelm the girl, scare her half to death, and knocked out a tooth. That alone, whether or not the dog was being vicious or not, that's concerning. Given the age.
Do that justify putting the dog down because the dog was playful and knocked a tooth out?
Well, and then the alternative of spending the $100+ a month on insurance.
Greg, have you ever, if once a dog's deemed vicious, have you ever had someone ask to have it no longer deemed vicious?
This is only the second time it's happened that I've had somebody that wanted to speak on behalf of the animal. And the first time it was stayed with the ruling of what I had set forth.
Okay.
because the ordinance doesn't contemplate removing a dog from that, like, to be able to prove that it's no longer vicious or that it's temporary, and say, I know it doesn't speak to it, but, yeah. It's interesting.
Is there anything in the ordinances that says what kind of liability the city would have or the Board of Works would have if we overruled a vicious dog and something else happened?
Let me try to bring that ordinance up, but no.
Yeah, and typically, and I don't want to step out of my lane here on the legal end of that, but I know typically when we run into issues of liability with the city, the only liability that cities incur is basically when there's malice in the actions of the city. So neglect or something like that, as long as the city is acting in good faith in operation of the city, typically don't have liability. There has to be some kind of malice.
Gross negligence.
Gross negligence, malice. So if it's in the course of regular business, typically we just don't have much liability when it comes to that.
Greg, off the top of your head, do you know what ordinance that is?
For which one?
The vicious dog?
I got my book right here. Give me a second.
It's at 92.
It's in the 90.
Yeah.
90.40.
Have you spoken to the family at all? Are they neighbors of yours, or was this?
I haven't spoke to him. I mean, the kids, I see the kids all the time. They ride their bikes and stuff around my house because I'm on the corner. So.
They live pretty close to you?
Yeah, they're like 3 or 4 houses down.
Okay. Okay. You can go ahead and sit back down. Thank you.
Did you find it, Dustin?
I did.
Okay.
So while they're looking at that, what's the thoughts of the board?
I mean, without actually seeing it, it looks to me like it was a 10-month-old puppy that got a little carried away and scratched a girl, knocked a tooth out, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not a dog handler, so I don't know what you would consider vicious, but I've never seen a 10-month-old vicious. And dogs scare me, so I'm not scared of a 10-month-old dog.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe dogs do get that way, but at an early age, I don't know.
We have seen it. We've
That
had
puppy's
puppies
being
at the
vicious.
shelter that have been exposed to things. I mean, you don't know how the dogs have been bred. We've had all sorts of issues come up where, you know, upon having them under their watch time, attack each other and just rip each other apart. You just don't know.
Have you been around this dog?
Not this dog, no. I was just saying, I mean, we've had puppies that you've got all the hope in the world for, but, you know, we've had some come out of meth houses and others that they just have a wire just off. Who knows how they were bred or...
But it's noticeable from the day you get them until,
No.
oh, it just randomly happened?
No, we had them under watch for, puppies are what, 10 days, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah, and within that time.
Okay. Well, with the criteria that you gave us, Mr. Douglas, it makes sense why you made that determination when you went to pick the dog up. So that makes sense to me. I think it's just how to move forward from that. But this is the first time we're doing it, so.
And I definitely
sure.
think that options outside of termination of the dog are where I'm leaning on this, whether that be the insurance. I know Mr. Douglas said that removal from the city isn't really allowed for in the ordinance, although...
I have had people ask if they can take it, other cities. And I told them I don't think so.
And I don't know, Dustin, if that's within our...
To allow that it's transferred to another.
Right. And I also don't know, with the age of the dog, if a probationary, or what a probationary period would look like, and once again, opening up a can of worms with starting a new precedent, like something like a probationary period with vicious animals.
Mayor, can I come up and show you?
Sure.
Something?
Okay, thank you.
Blake, is your, I know you said you had spent a lot of time with the dog, but it's like your evaluation, like because of what you were told and how the girl's scratches are, or what your actual professional opinion is with that dog and seeing, interaction with him?
I never like to make the decision to say that a dog has to be put down to start off with.
Sure.
I just want to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. I'm not saying that I want to put this dog down. It's not what my final decision would want to be. I mean, I don't want to see that happen. I just learned, after speaking with them, that the dog was that young. But I don't want to see us get into a situation where something happens where there's something worse that does happen.
And that is also one thing that I'm thinking too, that if this happens, that when this dog is 10 months old, when the dog is 2 years old, whatever the behavior that started this is going to become much more dangerous for a neighborhood kid if the dog were to get out again. And that's kind of where my real, like you said, I see all the points why you would make that for this dog to not be deemed vicious, but on the other hand, given that it's young and it's only going to get older, bigger, and have more potential for doing damage if it got loose again, that also concerns me. Yeah, Denise?
I'm sure that you are aware that I do volunteer at the animal control.
Mm-hmm.
She did state that she purchased the dogs from an auto magazine. Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Typically, when you purchase a dog from that type of a publication, the dog has come from probably an Amish breeder. They are known to inbreed their dogs. They are a puppy mill. She mentioned that she considers the dog autistic. Dogs are not autistic. Children are autistic, dogs are not. If that dog is displaying autistic type behavior, it's probably because it's inbred, and I would be fearful that that dog is going to continue to have that type of behavior more so as an adult, and could become more of a threat as an adult than it is as a puppy. It's just my concern.
Wouldn't the papers show that though, as far as the breeding of the dog? I mean, usually you get
She
that.
probably didn't get a bloodline, but how would she know if those dogs are related?
Oh, I thought she had all the papers on the dog.
If it's registered, there'd be a bloodline on it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a registered dog, it's got a bloodline, traces it all the way back.
You can get a pedigree and see exactly where the
Do you
dogs
have,
come
Right.
do
from.
you have that pedigree?
I have the paper from the...
How far does it, how many moves back does it go?
I don't know.
It goes back 4 generations usually.
I use that as an example because he's just very, very docile. He's not a hyper puppy. He wasn't like when we went and seen him, he wasn't jumping on us or anything. When we first got him, he just walking very relaxed. He wasn't
Yeah.
how he is. That's what I'm saying. That's why I say that he's not like a
Right. And
puppy.
that also, if this is a behavior you've never noticed in the dog before, then I would say this dog was acting uncharacteristically at this moment. And so if you're telling me that he was acting uncharacteristically, what, propagated him to act uncharacteristically without really understanding that? What would have triggered him to behave in a way you've never seen him behave before towards a child? So
They typically jump on people. Like if you play with him, does he jump on you?
He He will, but he doesn't put his weight on you. Now the little one, she will almost knock you over when she jumps on you. He's very careful, you know, he uses you to balance, but he doesn't put his weight on you.
My goal was clear, it was the black and white dog, not the tan dog, I'm assuming. So within the ordinances, there is a transfer of dogs.
Yes.
And so you have to give written notice to the person you're transferring to, the Board of Health, the dog catcher, the police department, and the clerk treasurer, making sure everybody knows that there was this issue with the dog, but providing these notifications and proof of the notifications. You can transfer the dog to somebody else that's willing to either take on the insurance or outside the city limits.
Right. Our ordinance applies to us now.
Right.
She'd have to check if it's someone in another city, another municipality. She'd have to check with our ordinances.
Okay, so they might not have to do the insurance, muzzle, and city registration.
Right, and that's like, and I don't know with the county, what rules the county has on this, if it was somebody within Miami County, if there's someone, do you know, Greg, does the county have the same?
County rules vary a little bit, but I don't know exactly word for word what they are. I just know in speaking with the county animal control guy in the past, his are a little bit different than what the cities are.
Mm-hmm.
I think he feels that ours are a little more stringent than what county is.
Okay.
So in your recommendation, would this be something that you would be open to if this dog was to go into the county? And if everybody was
Outside
notified?
the county.
Huh?
The people that I know are outside the county that have been willing to take it.
Again, as long as, you know, we've done our due diligence, you know.
Sure.
I don't want anything to come back on any of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said again, I don't want to have to be the one that has to put a 10-month-old dog down. I don't want that. I just want to make sure that if this dog does go somewhere else, it is going to be safe. We have paperwork showing that this dog is leaving and will never come back into the city or the county. Then, you know, that's what we'll do. Again, I don't want to have to be the bad guy to have to,
Sure. No, I understand why.
you know.
Right. If you do have someone to take ownership of the dog, then I think that's probably going to be the best solution as far as this. That wouldn't clear of the vicious dog designation, but that is an avenue for you, so you don't have to pay for the insurance or have the dog put down.
But then if they're outside of the county, they have to.
So and the city attorney can correct me if I'm wrong here, but you just have to give written notice to everyone as far as the trustee, or I'm sorry, the transferee, which would be the person you're giving it to, the Board of Health, the dog catcher, Greg, police department, and the clerk treasurer.
In my interpretation of that is if it's transferred within the county. And
Okay.
now I'm assuming, yes, if it went to Cass County, I'm assuming they have their own regulations as to an animal that's been declared vicious, and you'd have to comply with whatever their ordinances are. But
Yeah. So there could be, if the person who's taking it, if within their county or city, wherever they live, if they have rules, they should contact their local dog catcher and say, hey, I'm taking ownership of this dog, is there anything I have to do?
I've had that happen to me one time. I've had another county call me and say, you know, this person, they were moving themselves, and they had a dog in this county that was deemed in the same manner, and they were calling to let me know that these people were moving into our area. It happened to be just outside of our city limits, but they called to let us know that we had this dog, that they had this dog that had this problem, and they called as a courtesy to say, hey, you know, you got a dog moving into your area, and this is what had happened, just so we knew ahead of time what was going on.
So at that point, does the city require them to have that insurance then?
Well, at that point, like I said, it was just outside of our city limits, so it was out of my reach.
Okay.
So I didn't, they just wanted to make sure that surrounding areas knew what was going on.
Okay.
So, yeah, just a courtesy.
That's
That makes
correct,
sense.
yes.
Make note that the owner of the dog, if it is deemed vicious on her appeal to the Board of Works, can appeal the Board of Works' decision to the Superior or Circuit Court within the county within 5 days, so we sometimes pass the buck. But
Well, then that's 4 options then. There's, you guys can appeal, if we uphold the vicious dog, then you can appeal it.
Well, that's not, I wouldn't consider that an option for that dog itself, but
It's not really, it's not really an option for us, it's an option for them.
Yes, that's what I'm, give me a second.
Okay.
Now I'm off the rails. So, if we uphold that designation, you have the right to appeal it. You've also been given the option of the insurance, or transferring it, as long as you fill out the right paperwork and that kind of thing, so. When you looked into the insurance for it, you found out that the quote was $1,400. Was that the only quote that you got? Did you talk to anybody else about it or look into anything else? Is that an avenue that you would want to pursue?
No.
Okay.
And those all are options, given that we do not overturn the animal control officer's designation.
I don't think we can do that anyway. We haven't even seen the dog. I mean, how could we overturn what Greg's
Yeah, I mean,
his recommendation is, but...
I don't know. The biggest factors to me is the age of the dog and that
I agree.
it, how long has the dog been at animal control?
My paperwork, I don't know right off the top of my head. May 16th.
So it's been up there for not quite a month.
Yeah, state is 10 days on the quarantine for the bite, or whichever you want to call it. So that quarantine period was 10 days, and then because of the next date of this Board of Works, it's been held after that until the meeting.
How's the board feel on this?
I think with the criteria that's laid out by the state ordinances, it meets the criteria for vicious dog.
I feel it was a 10-month-old puppy and it was an unfortunate accident. But without seeing the dog and actually like interacting with it and finding out if the dog's actually vicious or not.
Would you feel more comfortable making a decision if we postponed it for board members to meet or to go up and interact with the dog? I don't know. And the thing is, that's kind of subjective too. It's such a subjective thing to, if you meet a dog one time, to say whether or not that's
right.
I feel like the best solution is if you know somebody that will take ownership of the dog, then I feel like that's the best outcome for everybody involved. And in that case, it's not a matter of appealing the designation of a vicious dog. And in that case, then the board would uphold the vicious dog designation, and I would say transferring it and notifying the people that are outlined in the city ordinance to be notified is the best option to go with. Is that the feeling of the board?
So I need to notify the city that it would be going to?
Yes. Or the county, or who the owner is, where it's going, so that we know, we have some documentation of where the dog is going. And
Your question is, do you notify the city that the dog would be going to, or our city?
Right, their Board of Health.
that's contingent on their ordinances.
Yeah.
It'd be a courtesy.
Yeah, it's not something we can tell you have to do, I would say, because we don't know what the rules are.
Which the family have to do these things for our city?
That's how I I'd say that
That
those are,
stuff that's wrote out, I would say that's for.
Those come to-
So you'd let us know where it's going, who the people are.
and I can get with Dustin, our city attorney, and come up with some kind of outline of exactly what information we'll need from you for where the dog's going. That's how it works. So we can.
Again, I just think that who it's being transferred to, this ordinance is pretty clear. Sorry.
But
No person shall transfer, possessed.
if you have the information on where the dog's going to go and bring it up, I'm sure we can walk you through getting the notifications to the right people so that you're cleared to
Just
transfer the dog.
the names and address of the new owner or person take possession of the dog, age, sex, color, and breed of the dog, and its registration number.
Yeah, right here.
And it shall describe in reasonable detail the incidents that caused the dog to fit the definition of a dangerous or vicious dog as defined under the ordinance.
Yeah. So you can come up to City Hall during our business hours, and I'm sure we can get that worked out, as long as you get all the information. Is there anything else from the board? Any questions? Is there any other question, comment from the public? Yes?
Would the dog be held at PAC then until that transfer actually takes place?
Yes. Anything else? So then the motion will be a motion to deny the request for appeal on the animal control officer's decision. Is that correct, board?
That sound right?
Yep.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys. Is there anything else to come before the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.